That is accurate to how it's done today, and it's been that way since 1964. However, the hands that have made it over the years have changed. When my uncle initially sold Kentucky Fried Chicken in 1964, Brown and Massey had contracted to Sexton and Stange to make the recipe. Half of it in one, half of it in another place, sent to a third party and then shipped to the franchisees. Today, McCormick and Griffith Foods is who supplies it, and it's done the exact same way so that no one place knows the full thing. Before the sale in 1964, family members such as the Colonel himself, his second wife Claudia, and the Colonel's nephew Lee Cummings, who is the founder of Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, were mixing the recipe. These were the most trusted members of the family Uncle Harley had, that he trusted with the 11 herbs and spices. These were people who would not deviate from his wishes. They would not hand it around the family, regardless what anybody says today. He would not have trusted his recipe with people who he thought would hand it around. And how this was done starting in Corcoran, Kentucky, it was mixed on the back porch in a big drum with a shovel. And I believe it was done the same way when they moved to Shelbyville. Claudia was primarily mixing it. My Uncle Jim would occasionally come down and help as well, but he was busy with franchises in Indiana. Cousin Lee would help up until he became the president of Kentucky Fried Chicken. He was mainly helping Uncle Harley franchise the chicken, but when he could, he would help Claudia mix the recipe. Claudia would mainly mix the recipe, package it, and then send it out to the franchisees. Uncle Harley supplied the franchisees with the supplier name of the flour and the oil and had them buy that, while he provided the pressure cookers and the seasoning. Now, after the sale in '64, Uncle Harley was starting his wife a restaurant in Shelbyville right next to the Black Hall Manor, his house. This was called the Colonel's Lady. They needed a seasoning, and he wanted to challenge his friend Bill Summers to recreate his seasoning based off the flavor. So they created 99X. It's not 100% the recipe, but it's a pretty close variant of it, and he thought it was close enough to use in his wife's restaurant. They did such a good job at this, he knew that they would do nothing but 100% pure ingredients, that he suggested to Brown and Massey that they use Mary & Kay spices to make the full thing. He trusted them. But Brown and Massey refused, as they already contracted with Sexton and Stange to supply the recipe. So Mary & Kay Spices never got to supply the 11 herbs and spices, and no, they did not get the list of 11 herbs and spices. Uncle Harley had to give Bill Summers something to use to recreate it, but he did not give him the list of 11 herbs and spices. That's why I think it's called 99X, because they even said it in a video with the Colonel, 99, never 100. And now today, McCormick got their hands on the recipe along with Griffith's Foods. So, it's done that way. It's mixed in 2 locations, sent to 1. A lot of people ask, how do the cooks know how to cook it if they don't know what's in it? And that's how. They get the pre-mixed seasoning that they mix in with the flour.